All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to everybody to our MSHSL MYS Recruitment Forum. My name is Jason Nickleby. I'm an assistant director with the league, and I oversee our officials program. And we'll have a number of folks that are going to speak to their experience tonight about high school officiating, youth officiating, and how we can help you get started. And there's a number of veteran officials on this call as well who've done it for quite a while, who can assist with your questions and help you move in the right direction. Pam Iniger, my assistant, is also on the call, and so any questions, concerns as they come up after this call about officiating and next steps and those kind of pieces, she's a great resource for you. Schedule tonight, I'll introduce our speakers, the few speakers that we have when we get to them, but from a housekeeping and logistics standpoint, helpful if you mute your line, just like most Zoom calls. If you have any questions as we're going, throw those in the chat. Often, many of our experienced officials who are on the call will answer some of those questions, especially if it's something that's specific to a sport or your area of the state. Throw that in the chat. They're really good at answering those questions. So if you want to leave your camera on, no problem. But if you could mute your line, that would be very helpful. But welcome again to all of you. You're taking the first steps. And typically we have Tim Layton, my colleague in the office, kind of give us the rousing start. He's in the process of moving houses, so has a couple other things going on, but he wanted to pass along his best wishes to all of you. And he's also here to help you in your journey to becoming an official. And we'll talk in more detail about what those steps look like, both from an MYS and a MSHSL perspective, so you have an idea of what that looks like. So just talked about all this again. Mute your microphones, throw questions you have in the chat, and then resources, the forum page, we update that all the time. So information from the forum, there'll also be the recording from tonight. If you are not able to, if you have friends, family, whatever, who are not able to be here, you can view that later, and you can also review it later as well. And then we'll talk a little bit more about it, but there's more resources on the league's website as well as the MYS site, and then pieces on Arbiter for officials that are specific to officials. So, all right, we're going to get started with our speakers. I'm not going to speak about my experience necessarily, but I will tell you that I've officiated for 25 years now, and a number of sports: football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, dabbled in some others, but it's been a great experience for me, and I was able to transition a passion of mine in officiating into a full-time position here at the league. So always excited to work with officials every day. But I have a number of experienced officials from across the state, different sports from the fall, who are going to speak to their experience as an official, how they got into it, what they like about it, and why you should do it too. Hopefully their passion will come through. I'm sure they'll be very convincing, and we're happy that they're on tonight. So let's start with Julie Singlewald. She's our newest regional coordinator in swimming and diving. She lives in Saginaw, Minnesota, which is about 20 minutes northwest of Duluth. 7 years as an official, and then 9 years involved in the officiating program down in the cities. Currently a vice president of radiology services at Essentia, and she has 3 adult children and her husband Bill, and she enjoys officiating, swimming, and diving. We're going to hear from her first. So
thanks, Jake.
Saw her on here. There she is.
Nope, here I am.
Take it away, Julie.
Thank you. No, so I got into officiating early in my youngest daughter's swimming career. It was in more of the youth swimming program, and I could spend a weekend cheering from the stands, or I could be on deck and actually interacting with my daughter and so many other kids. And so that's really how I got into it. I helped with running the table at my daughter's high school meets, and it was the officials that were coming into the pool and we were interacting with. As my daughter was a senior, they asked me, well, what are you doing now that she's done, because this is it. And that was kind of the introduction to say, hey, would you consider officiating with the high school association? And I thought that was really a great opportunity. I've loved the sport. I've been in the sport as a youth myself, and so just being around it, this being my youngest daughter, it was, it's a big part of our lives as our children get older and get to cheer them on and participate. And so I think that was just a great opportunity for me to be able to still participate in a sport that I really love and love to watch the kids grow. And so then now that I've been officiating, I wasn't necessarily working at the pool where my daughter had swam, but with other neighboring locations. And I will say, one of the things that I found most fun about that was to watch the swimmers, girls season, boys season, from the beginning of the season and see their progression, because you would end up officiating some of those same teams, and being able to cheer them on and feel like you're supporting something that is engaging to them and that they enjoy has just been great. As far as officiating, I think one of the things that I felt most comfortable about this is that the Minnesota Minnesota Swim Officials group essentially has sponsored a mentorship program for us. And that, I think, was the biggest hurdle that myself and some others I think had concerns. Well, we've watched the sport, we know the sport, but would I want to be officiating at the high school level? And I will say it's been hugely supported by a number of individuals that are very experienced in that, and really helping get your feet under you so that you're not jumping in and having to do it right away, but really having that observation time, and then as well as that time to have them at your elbow as you're officiating an event like a high school meet, and wanting to do well and being able to be coached in a way that was very comfortable. So really enjoyed it. I would encourage anybody that's considering officiating for the girls season for swim and dive. We will help support if you're a little nervous, because that's the key. We want to make sure that officials, when they're on deck, they're interacting with those there with a level of confidence, and how we can support you would be what we'd really like to do. So would welcome any questions related to the sport for those that are on.
Perfect, Julie. I would say, for everyone's benefit on the call, that that is pretty much the case in every sport, that associations and experienced people will mentor you along the way and will support you in your new journey. So you're going to feel comfortable as you go along. You'll make mistakes, you'll learn, you'll develop, you'll grow, and there'll be people to help you along the way. And I was waiting for Julie to say something like, they're not going to push you in the deep end or something like that, but she didn't go with any of the cliches. But we appreciate her perspective, and it's from Julie kind of epitomizes where our new officials are coming from across the country. The vast majority of new officials are coming from parents that have followed their kids through a sport or sports and are now looking to stay involved. And she's a really good example of someone that can take it on and really find success. So thanks to Julie for joining us. Gail, she's our next speaker.
Hello.
Gail, it lives in Sartell, and a little bit of a joke around the office, because half of our office lives in Sartell, and so they're like, do we need any more Sartell folks involved in this forum? And I said, we can never have too many Sartell folks. So Gail is a pretty experienced and accomplished volleyball official, and she's worked at the state tournament several times, works at other levels, including JOs in the summer, and she also has a family of officials as well, both her husband and one of your children that officiates. So something that they can bond about over dinner, at least when they're home and not at a game, I suppose. So
Right.
Gail, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. As Jason was saying, I've been officiating volleyball for 14 years. Started because of the love of sports, but actually got into it because I had my career and then I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years and I just needed another outlet. So obviously the love for the sport and knowing volleyball, and also a previous official that worked on my husband's football crew was a volleyball official as well. So I was able to reach out to him and ask questions and get a little bit more comfortable with that. I jumped in right away doing high school, MSF, and JO all at once. I don't necessarily recommend that with all the different rules and such like that, but it was nice to do it at different levels. With that being said, I've learned a lot from all the variety of different officials in different organizations. And one of the key things is having that mentorship, like Julie was talking about earlier, and being able to run things past people and just having the support. And for those officials that obviously are just starting and that are new and a little bit nervous, I know the state organization has always been great in regards to setting you up with an official that's very experienced to those that are new. So you're not going in feeling like there's two of you that are very inexperienced. So that's definitely a great benefit in regards to that. I kind of mentioned, yeah, why I got into it, just for the love of the game, getting out of the house, make a few dollars to put my kids through sports. But in the end too, it's the friendships that you've made and the camaraderie that you have together as a group. Not only, say after tournaments during a night, but, just your everyday life too, and having those friendships. Kind of perspective of, my career and that sort of thing, finding a key factor in the progression is the knowledge that you learn. And that is, again, working with other officials all the time, going to these early training programs. You can sit and read the rule book and you can listen to what other people have to say, but getting on the court and actually doing it and going through all the different steps is 100% what will make you feel more comfortable in doing it. So that's great that the state of Minnesota has those different programs where you can go and you can get mentored. And there's not a dumb question. I mean, everyone's learning at different levels and learning off of each other. And it's a big group that can learn together each year. I guess, moving forward, I would love to help mentor more people. I do it on the junior club level and help the girls learn how to officiate and work with the coaches too. As we know, just because you can coach doesn't mean you can officiate, and you got to give each other perspective that way. So any new officials that have questions or anything, like I said, feel free to ask. I'm sitting with a girlfriend of mine right now who she's just getting into it. And last weekend she came to a breakdown tournament with me and just kind of shadowed me and kind of did some things on her own. And a little bit interesting that, a coach did talk to her about some things and she wasn't quite sure what to say. And but then talking with the coach, she was very, appreciative that we have new officials and such out there that's learning the trade. So I just want to say welcome to the pack to all those who are new.
Awesome. Yeah, I would, again, just like Julie had said, and Gail's talking about, just the support systems that are out there for you as new people. They're immense, and it's in every sport. You know, Julie swimming and diving, Gail on the volleyball side of things. We'll hear from Tony and Carolyn here in a sec. They're in basketball, soccer, and just the spectrum of our fall sports, and they can all speak to that level of support and camaraderie and friendship that you'll find in officiating. So thanks, Gail. Appreciate that. And I'm not really sure what you meant by saying not all coaches make good officials. They all think they're good officials.
Well, I know that's my point.
All right. Tony Schrepfer, he's the director of officials at the MYS, longtime official in Minnesota, over 30 years across a number of sports, basketball, baseball, soccer, and softball, and has brought that passion for officiating and training and development to his role at the MYS. So we're really excited about the partnership that we have with them and trying to promote youth and high school officiating and how we can connect the two and move folks in the right direction. So, Tony.
Yes, sir. You want me to talk about soccer and officiating?
Yeah, so which means you have to come back into soccer officiating is how that works.
I gotta hang it up so I can continue to do my other three that I truly love. I love all of them. Again, my path was a little different. When I hear some of the new people, all the stuff that all the like stuff that new officials have now, we didn't have all that when I first started. Like you literally, I was at a high school JV game and one of the varsity officials didn't show up. That's how I got my first varsity game. And sometimes that's how it goes. And then, you know, Gail talked about it, and your best teacher is experience, getting out there, because knowing the rules and having good mechanics and looking the part, all that stuff. But your best teacher is just getting out onto the court or field, whatever sport you're doing. And again, my journey was a little different. As a kid, I was a seasonal player. Whatever season it was, you just played that sport. So that's kind of how I carried it over into after I was done playing competitively. I'm like, let's just do, you know, I'll try with baseball first and work softball. And then I got into basketball and then soccer. I just needed something to do in the fall. So I joined soccer, and that's kind of what it was. And then, you know, once you get going, the camaraderie part of being an official is hands down probably my best part, because you get to meet so many people and you get to travel a lot and you get to see different areas of the state, if not the country, when you get, you know, when you move up in the ladder. So there's plenty of like reasons why we all have our why. You know, my why was I was playing and one of the umpires called an inside strike on me, and it would have hit me in the knee. And I'm like, I just looked back at him. I wasn't that kid that would yell and freak out. I just looked at him. I said, really? And he just looked back and he goes, we're always looking for good umps. I'm like, done, right? I'm like, I can do that. And truly, personally, I get more satisfaction out of being an official, because if you're a baseball player, right, you're batting 300, you're doing it really good, but you've done it wrong 70% of the time. And everybody expects us to be 100%, which until they are 100%, we'll never be. So I go with that mindset that, you know, I can miss a strike here and there or whatever. I'm not saying I'm going to, but if it does happen, which we do make mistakes, it's not what you do when you make the mistake, it's what you do after you make a mistake, right? You stay the course, you know, don't lose control. And that's how you become a really good official, right? I mean, if I'm 98%, 95 to 98%, I'm solid for the day, right? I mean, that's really good. And, you know, it should be 100, but sometimes the ball or, you know, just the field will put you in a bad situation. Sometimes the players put you in goofy slots where you don't have the wedge, or, you know, the ball does crazy things, you know, and it's just part of sports. So what you do is adapt and overcome. And that's what we do as officials as well. You know, we both talked about, you know, coaches thinking they're the best, you know, I can officiate. Yeah, you probably could, but today you're just coaching. So if you got a question, let's go ahead and answer your question, and then let me get back to work, and then you take care of your team. And if you can communicate that really well without like any facial expression and any, you know, just if you can keep calm and cool, coaches, they can't, you're going to be in pretty good shape. You are. So again, all of our journeys are a little bit different. Again, soccer, I enjoyed it while I did it. I worked it for 8 years. Then I became the head coach at my school for 5 years. And then I went back for another, I don't know, probably 10 years now. So we're looking to replace some of our aging officials because there's a lot of aging officials out there. So hopefully we can get some new people involved. I know I saw Quincy on this call. Quincy's one of our basketball officials that just started this past year, and he's done a really good job. And it's fun to see new faces and young officials getting a part of the game, right? Becoming part of the game, and that's what we're looking for. So plenty of resources like Jason and everybody has spoke on. So this is a great time to become an official because you do have that support, not only from the high school league, but from our youth association too at the MYS. And now that we've kind of, combined forces, all of our stuff is on the same, training platform, which is Arbiter Sports. So yeah, if you guys, again, if you have any questions throughout, put them in the chat. We'll answer them. I'll make sure to get our email address up there too. So, and we're just starting to formulate our basketball clinics that we have coming up in October. So.
Great. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, we'll hear from Tony and Carolyn again a little bit later in the presentation here, and they can talk a little bit more about the details of MYS, but appreciate Tony's experience and his connections across a number of sports, and some good feedback and wisdom there. Our last speaker, Carolyn Dirksen, she's the Assistant Director of Officiating at the MYS. So Tony's colleague, and she's also an official with the league. She's doing the only high school sport she's doing currently is football, if I recall correctly. I need her to get back into high school girls basketball, but I won't twist her arm too hard on this call. But she's, Tony and Carolyn both, they've moved up, into other levels and the other responsibilities, and so we're very happy for them. We're proud of them. We never want to see officials plateau if they don't want. We want to see them grow where they can grow, and Carolyn's been able to do that on both the football and basketball side of things. So started young, started at University of Wisconsin River Falls, and has kind of evolved into a very, very good high school and college official, and has translated that into a successful role with the MYS. So, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Well, everyone, welcome. You're taking the first steps of becoming an official by coming to this forum, and this wasn't around even when I first started. So it's really good that you get to hear different people and their journey. And, as Tony mentioned, and Gail and Julie, everyone is so different in their journey. And it's always fun to see where people go with officiating, because you can pick your destination of where you want to go. And that's the beauty of it. As Jason mentioned, I did attend the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and originally I wanted to get into coaching. I played 1 year on the team and didn't know if I was going to make it again. So then decided to hang it up, and then got into officiating my junior year in intramurals. So they say if you can ref intramural or youth sports, you can do just about everything, which is very true. And so then wanted to get into coaching, so helped out with the women's basketball team, and then moved back home and was working part-time. So coaching was not going to work. So my neighbor said, hey, we need more officials. So I said, okay, I'll give it 1 year, and then I'm going to get into coaching. And my first year, during a boys sophomore game, we screwed up so badly during the game with timing. We didn't even watch for it. And that was my deciding, hey, I want to stick with this, which probably is not the story everyone's looking for how I got started, but very happy I stuck with it. And I've been very fortunate of what I've gotten to do, and also just continuing to keep growing. And with football, loved playing football. I was always playing football with the boys. And then my brother tackled me and I broke my collarbone. So I decided probably football is not the sport that I probably ever want to play. But Always have loved it. He was a coach, so that's where my passion went for that. And then during COVID, they needed more officials, so I decided I'll give it a try, and now it's been doing it ever since. So I would encourage all of you that there are so many great skills that you can learn from officiating. Communication is one of them. You need that every day, so it's really great to learn how to grow in that. Leadership, also just working with others. There's going to be times where there's going to be difficult tasks you're going to take on, and even in officiating, there's going to be challenging coaches you're going to have to deal with. So it's really nice that officiating can also help out in that area. And as Tony mentioned too, I mean, it's you get to see a lot of great places in Minnesota, or even in the United States, or even if you get lucky to go around the world to officiate. So people on here are fantastic, that we just want to help you guys get started in a great avocation, and that you guys are just going to have so much fun doing this, and that we can be a resource for you. And the mentoring part is so huge as well. It's nice having others that you can call after a game and be like, I kicked this call, or I screwed up. How would you have done this? And it's going to be people that are going to want to help you grow. So that's even better. And then the friendships that you form along the way that are just going to be by your side, whether on or off the court and off the field, and when your time is done. So I would definitely recommend give officiating a chance. Give it more than 2 years. Your first 2 years are probably going to be your most challenging years. So I'm really going to encourage everyone that's on this call is don't give up after your first or second year. Keep going, and you're going to get into a great avocation.
Perfect. Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, I just listening to all of them, I just think about the pieces that resonate with me as an official. And not everyone gets to do this, but the parts about meeting people and seeing places that you wouldn't otherwise get to do. I've been very fortunate to officiate in 42 of the 50 states. And if I wasn't officiating, there would be no reason for me to go to a lot of those places, and probably couldn't afford to go to a lot of those places. And officiating has provided an opportunity to do that and meet people that I would never otherwise meet, and make a lot of great friendships. So all those are pieces that Julie and Gail and Tony and Carolyn all covered. So appreciate their perspective, and I'm assuming they'll stay on or stick around for a little while. So again, if you have any questions of them, throw those in the chat if you would. I'm gonna share, let's see here. You'd think after 3 years on Zoom, I'd have it down to a science, but there it is. Okay. Can we see the PowerPoint? We good there?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to take us through kind of the steps of becoming a high school league official, and we'll also incorporate Tony and Carolyn in there to talk about the MYS and how they're connected and those pieces. But we'll talk about the requirements and testing and training and all the different steps that you would go through to become and stay an official. And this first slide here is our newest promotional piece that we've developed here at the league. We got a poster and a brochure and some other slides we'll share with schools and our media partners and so forth. And I want to point out that despite what it looks like here, Gail is for sure having fun officiating. I'm just throwing that out there. So This is our, all these are officials that worked at our state championships last year, and really good group to be on our newest promotional pieces. So excited about that. So as I said, I will take us through this piece, but I want to throw out there that we started this in 2019 in person, and it was really a piece that Brett Carlson, who was the community education director at North Branch, really pushed. And he didn't have any officiating background at all, but he just really had a passion for this and trying to get people involved. And we moved it to online, which has really been effective for us. And he was really instrumental in pushing that. Unfortunately, Brett passed away last fall, but we've pushed ahead with this initiative in his memory. So I want to continue to recognize his efforts in moving this forward. So I mentioned Pam earlier. She's really great resource. If you need anything, reach out to her. But we also have regional and state coordinators that support the officiating program. There are our supervisors, if you will, across every sport. And then associations, of which we have 100 unique associations across the state that support officials development in their sport and their part of the state. And then they have clinicians that assist them with rules and mechanics pieces. And then we have our observer program, and the observers go out and not in every sport, but in a number of them, go out and observe officials and provide feedback. And then associations also do some of that on their own as well. So that's the league's officiating program, and kind of the key players that assist us in that effort. So we'll start out here with the MYS. I'll turn over to Tony and Carolyn to give you an overview of the MYS and what they do and how they support officiating at the youth level.
Yeah, our program is based on 3rd through 8th grade athletes, and we have for our basketball, we have 140 associations that register with us, and they follow our mission, with safeguard for players and calling a fair game, and just the good wholesome values that sports give us as people. Sports is a great avenue for building good character and all those other things. And we try to, this is the first step for anybody that hasn't officiated. It's a good place to get your feet wet. And we do have when you do register with us, we don't put you right to an 8th grade A game, right? We're going to get your feet wet with some, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, and you're going to be with a seasoned official. So you can get that good mentorship right out of the gate, right? And the more that you can give us and let us know about you, right? Because a lot of the times we have some younger umpires that they start pretty young. They can umpire our games when they're 3 years older than the group they're umpiring. So we have 13-year-olds doing 10U games, and we just finished up our GSTC tournaments, and we had a UIC at each site to help with some of the younger officials and talk with coaches, and if there's any communication that needs to happen. And it worked out really well. So it's a good starting point for new officials. And then our natural progression is to once we see somebody that's doing well, then we're going to notify the high school association. So I'm with Gopher. I know Carolyn was with MOA, and there's Cap City. So the metro stuff for basketball is what I'm speaking on. We let them know that, hey, this person's ready, and you should, give them a shot at some freshmen and 10th grade games, and you'll register with the high school league. And again, we've gotten rid of dual, where you won't have to take all the things over that you do with the high school league with us. So if you register with both, you're only doing the rules, module one time. You don't have to do it twice. So we've cleared up some of that. And our avenue, again, is a little easier. It's more streamlined for officials to get registered. Again, it's on our website. We are putting together our clinics for basketball coming up. Again, they'll be held in October. They'll be posted in September to register, and then you can pick one of them. We did also join forces with the YMCAs So we're able to use some of their facilities to host our clinics because we don't have a permanent facility for ourselves to do that. So we have some at the National Sports Center, YMCA's. We're going to be using the Colin Powell Center again. Get that thing back on the map because it's 4 courts sitting right in the middle of a city that's not being used. So I met with the gentleman from over there and we worked it out. So a lot of good things coming up. Carolyn, you got anything you want to share too? I know we have a lot, but we want to get everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, you touched on a lot of it, Tony, that you, just with basketball that we have coming up as well. And, basketball and baseball are the main sports that we mainly take care of, but we have dabbled into football a little bit and always looking to help out there. But if there's a sport on here that we don't have and you want to get started at the youth level, we can certainly help you find who assigns that. So it's always, don't feel like, oh, they don't work with that association, they don't have that sport. No, come on over to us. Let us help you find the connection because we need more in all sports. So always feel free to come over and help us and let us help you out with getting started. So, and it's also the great part too, is when you first get started, this is a great avenue to get into because you're getting started and you're going to be paired with someone too that is more of a veteran official. Our signers try to do that as well, just to make sure that you're not feeling anxious bugging on the court for the first time. They'll pair you up with someone that will help you out. Let's see.
Yeah, there's all our information that, again, everything's been updated on our website. So everything is current, ready to go, except just launching the registration for that. Yeah. And again, Carolyn, she does football. And if we don't, again, like we don't do soccer, but if you are interested in working some youth soccer, that's where I started. Started working youth soccer. So I know the people that are in charge of youth soccer throughout the metro area. It's a different, training. It's through FIFA and some of it's through USA, and there's all kinds of different, certifications you'll need to do those things. So the more training you have, like off the field training, getting that good knowledge base will help you when you do step on the field or court, right? Again, that's going to be your best teachers, that experience on the court. Take what you've learned, what you've gotten from other officials and all the different training programs and taking tests and all that stuff. That's good, but getting out there is right where you're going to earn it. And again, we'd never put any brand new official with another brand new official. They're always going to be with somebody that's going to be there to support you. And our assigners that we have are always out and about at their tournaments. They're not just going to just assign you and not show up. They like to go out and see you in action to see, because most of our assigners are former officials, if not current officials. So we're all working to help each other. So never be afraid to ask any question and don't be afraid to get out there. It's like stepping up the plate. You can't be afraid to strike out or you'll never go to the plate, right? Because you will strike out. And in officiating, we do make mistakes. But again, learning from those mistakes will make you a better official. So. Yep, we talked about our clinics coming up. Yeah, they'll be coming up soon. We get you with a trusted assigner, so you're close. So for people that are younger, in your teens, we want to try to keep you close to your home area. And then we are building a program to where if you do register with us, there's a small extra fee if you wanted to get a uniform covered. So instead of having to pay, I'll just say baseball, if you had to buy a full baseball plate uniform, it's going to be $300 to $400, maybe $500. We'll just charge you $100 and you can go to General Sports and they'll outfit you with the full everything that you're going to need. So we're working at that right now. And we've raised our pay. All of our umpire fees have gone up over the last couple of years. We just set our new basketball fee and our baseball fee for next year. So that's in place and it's at its highest. When I first started, I was making $10 a game. Holy Hannah. But, times have changed and we have to, change with the times or we get left behind. So again, just give it a shot, right? That's how Carolyn got started. She said, I'll try a year, and all of a sudden you get it in your blood, and I'm on my 35th year of officiating. So
All right, perfect. I'm gonna go through the steps from the league's perspective, and we talked about a lot of these things, and there's much more than what's on the screen as for reasons for why officials get into it. But the relationships are really kind of the number one piece, and you know, you see the reaction of the officials in that picture. That really isn't all that unusual to see that kind of interaction at our events and at games. And so I think you'll find that you'll be with people that are there to support you and help you grow in this avocation. At the league, we're always trying to promote officiating as a desired avocation, and we work through registration and observation. We also facilitate training and development for all the sports that we cover, and then the association support what we do in that role. And we're always looking to do better. And our role here, as far as assignments goes, are just for state tournaments and associations, and our sections typically handle the other levels of play. It's really critical, and Tony and Carolyn talked about it, but teaching the fundamentals of rules, mechanics, and how you effectively communicate. And we work on that all the time, and we do that through our online rules modules, our training clinics, and then continuous training opportunities throughout the season, of which this year we're going to have more than we've ever had. And we are always working with you to make connections with experienced officials and with our schools on promotion of a safe environment. I would tell you that working high school league events is about as safe of a place as you can be. There's accountability there. Our superintendents, our principals, our ADs, they are committed to having a safe environment, not just for officials, but for everybody. And if not, they're going to hold some people accountable if that's not taking place. So just know that officiating at high school league events is going to be a really safe place for you to be. And these are just a couple of examples of them thanking our officials throughout the year. And there's probably 100, 150 tweets like this from our events last year, maybe more. And it's more common than not to have a good experience at the high school level. You'll find that to be the case. Are they going to agree with every decision you make? No, they're not. But for the most part, they know that they need you, and they're supportive of you and the role that you have in education-based athletics. Again, our promotional poster, and we're going to get Gail up on some billboards on Highway 94 to promote officiating. And
I was concentrating. I was looking for that back row attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're trying to figure out where the setter was. I know how it goes.
Can I submit a different picture?
I'll talk to Laura.
Okay. I'll walk down the street and see.
Yes,
if she can get,
there you go. There you go. We have the officiating recruitment portal. It assists you with finding all the resources to get connected with local associations, how to register, and most of the FAQs that we have. And we have almost 6,000 contest officials, and we work with them every day to provide them with the resources they need to be successful. If you're ready to register, or hopefully you already have, but if you're ready, we will send you the link to do that. We will also connect you with local associations who can get you set up with mentors and assist you with uniforms and get you through assignments. We have several of those kind of people on this call tonight, but we will connect you with people in your sport, in your area of the state after tonight. And when you register, you'll register through Arbiter Sports. It's a pretty low fee, $30 for Sport 1 for the first and second year. And once you do that, you'll complete the requirements during your season, including a general officials module, sport-specific rules presentation, the exam, concussion module, and background check. And once you do those things, and you're 18 years old, you're eligible to work varsity contests if you complete those items. We have 18 sports that we register officials for at the league, and those include sports that are dual gender as well. We talked about the fee, $30 for sport one, and then $15 for each additional sport. And you can purchase additional publications if you wish as part of that process, but it's a lower fee than our returning veteran officials pay. The background check, it's required for everybody. We do rechecks every 5 years, but this is why your birth date and social security number are required as part of registration, because we run that background check, and we do that right before the season starts, so that we can do it in one bulk order. Concussion module completion is required by state law. Anyone who works with kids has to do a concussion module. The concussion module is new beginning this year, so every official and every coach in Minnesota is going to have to take the new module. It's not quite posted yet. I hope to have that posted this weekend, but after you watch it on Arbiter, you're good for 3 years. And then after 3 years, we wipe everybody out and we have a new course at that time. So everyone asked to view a rules presentation and pass the exam every year, and also a general officiating online module, which went up this afternoon. So that's ready. The general officiating module you watch once, the sports specific module you watch right before your season, and then the exam is 80% open book, and they vary in length, but we encourage you to work with a mentor, an experienced official, and go through that exam. And that's how you'll learn. You'll find that even though, as Gail kind of mentioned, you find out that as much as you maybe knew the sport, you maybe didn't quite know it as well as maybe you thought until you opened up a rules book. And it'll just be good for you to go through that with a veteran official who can answer your questions. And that's how you're going to learn and ask questions about rules. And, and Gail brought up back row attack. When I officiated volleyball, my wife was a coach, and I don't think I've ever seen her so frustrated when she tried to explain to me what back row attack was, but I finally figured it out. But, that was something that, veteran officials or veteran people can take you through. The preseason information, we just mailed out rules books and case books for a number of fall sports. There was a very large shipment that went out today. A lot of our fall officials are going to be receiving those. Every official will receive a rules book this year, except our gymnastics officials, unless you're a new gymnastics official, in which case you will receive one. But we do them every other year, so you should hang on to it. And then the following year, you would get a new rules book again. So since we're going to keep you for 3 years, as Carolyn said, you would get at least the second rules book. So I don't have the most updated numbers. I think Pam has those, but this gives you kind of an idea where we've been at officials numbers wise. It says 7,340, but those are duplicates. It's roughly 5,700 or so unique individuals. So about a third of our officials do more than one sport. Some folks have asked questions about this in the chat about training opportunities, and we provide training clinics in all of the sports that are listed on the slide. And we typically have 1 or 2, maybe more in person, and then we have 1 or 2 on Zoom, and they both count the same. Those are required for postseason eligibility, but those are really great clinics. Our supervisors do a great job. They're free. They're part of your registration. They're in volleyball. There is a clinic at the warehouse in Maple Grove that you can go to the first weekend of August. And the best part about that is you're going to actually get out on the court and officiate, and there's no coaches. So it's basically the best place to officiate, no coaches. And so that's an opportunity for volleyball officials. But in all of those sports, we have training clinics right before the season that you can sign up for, and they are free. And we would encourage anyone to attend those. But even if a sport isn't listed on the screen, I would tell you that the reason that they're not listed is the associations do an outstanding job of providing training. So there's really no reason to double dip on that. So just encourage you to attend clinics whenever you have the opportunity. Currently, we provide weekly video training in football and basketball, but I would tell you that we are going to add pretty much every sport this year where we'll have something like that. Volleyball and soccer are well on their way to putting those together, and swimming and diving is not far behind those folks. So really excited about that opportunity, and that will really help you'll grow. You know, seeing yourself officiate or seeing others officiate is really a great way to get better and to learn more about officiating. 18 activities we talked about, 35 in-person or Zoom clinics across all those sports, and then we also have those preseason meetings for each sport as well. Associations are really a critical piece. Typically, Tim Layton, my colleague, is on here to talk about it, but we have 100 unique officials associations, and they really are great at training and development and mentorship and support and providing assignments and helping you with uniforms and all the questions that you would have. That's what they're really good at. Now, 30% of our officials aren't in an association, but we really encourage you to join one if you have the opportunity, if there's one in your sport or your area of the state. They do a really great job at assisting officials, as they begin in their officiating careers. Buying equipment is obviously a piece that, we have to do, uniforms and so forth. Tony mentioned it a little bit, but there are starter packages. So if you go to General Sports, you go to Smitty, Honig's, any of those kind of dealers, a lot of them do have starter packages with reduced rates for new officials. Also, the associations do a good job of giving uniforms that are gently used or those kinds of things to new officials. And so work through your association on those pieces as well. Insurance, no one really cares about it till they need it. But I just wanted you to know that it is a benefit of being a member, and we encourage officials to be members of NASO, which is the National Association of Sports Officials, just to get more resources, more supports. So we just encourage people to do that. And then once you kind of get through all these steps, it's time to get out there and work. Tony talked about it. That's the best way to learn. Get out and work some scrimmages, work some early season contests. It helps you work on the positioning and the mechanics, and the speed of it is going to be really fast. As a spectator, it's slower perhaps, but then when you're out there officiating, the speed is going to surprise you a little bit, how fast these kids are. They're so big and fast and strong, and they get bigger and faster and stronger all the time. The speed will kind of surprise you at first, but as you get more scrimmages and get more events under your belt, you will feel more comfortable, and it will start to slow down for you, and you'll start to really be able to process what you're seeing and then apply the rules as you go. And then, we're off and running. We start officiating games, and we get a mentor, get advice, get feedback, always look to get better. And we have mid-season check-ins. Schools can send you video if you ask. Always encourage you to reach out to mentors and experienced officials and ask questions. And we have them in every sport, and they're there to assist you along the way in your journey in officiating. So those are the kind of the steps and next pieces in your journey to become a high school official. Registration is open now, as I mentioned, for high school officiating. And all of the eligibility requirements will open up on August 7th for our fall sports. So football, volleyball, soccer, swimming and diving, adapted soccer. And keep adapted in mind. I don't think as many people keep that in mind as an option. Our adapted programs are amazing, and we only have about 20 officials in each of those. And if people found out how great they were, we probably would have hundreds. So just something to throw out there. I would consider our adapted programs. They're great. And you can officiate multiple sports at once at the same time if you want. I did do football and volleyball at once. And, do what works well with your family and your schedule. That's the beauty of officiating, is that it's flexible. You don't have to be at practice every day. You don't have to go meet with coaches or parents or those kind of things that coaches have to do. Officiating can match your schedule. So if you can work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, great. If you can work every day, great. Your schedule will get accommodated by what works for you. And the associations and the experienced people will help you in your journey. So I'm going to stay on here and answer any questions that anybody has. Otherwise, you're certainly free to go, and we would encourage you to register and connect with an association when you're ready. And Pam will send out information for associations and contacts for them, as well as access to the recording of this meeting here in the next few days or maybe early next week. And you can start connecting with those people to get started. And as always, please call Pam, please call myself, please call Carolyn or Tony or Gail or Julie or any of our coordinator staff. They're here to help you in this journey. And we appreciate that you took the time to be on the call with us tonight. This is the first step, and you won't regret it if you take that next step and move forward. So I will stick around and answer any questions. Otherwise, you're free to go, and have a great night.
Thank you, Jason.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Jason, I've got one question for you. Where do
Yeah.
we find the list for the regional directors, or especially for baseball? Like how do we find those guys?
So I'm assuming you're talking about our regional coordinators, our supervisors at the state
Right.
level.
Yes, sir.
So we have them in every sport, and they represent each part of the state that has officials in that sport. And if you register with us and after you register, go to the central hub, there is a link that has the regional and state
Okay.
coordinators in every sport and their contact information. And they're the go-to people for rules questions, mechanics, all that. So encourage people to connect with them. And I know Jim Weinzerl's on here, one of our basketball coordinators, Rachel Palmer, our softball state coordinator, Rich Stolp, regional coordinator for football, Mike Spanier, our state coordinator for football. So we have a number of those folks, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but all great resources. So
Are the regional coordinators the one, like, and I'm referencing baseball, are they the ones who actually do the assigning for playoff games too, as well as state, or how does that work?
they just assign our state tournament games. Our section games are assigned by our region secretaries, and they hire assigners to assign for sections, typically working with associations that are local to their part of the state to make those assignments.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
A couple of questions in the chat. So, is it too late to start as a brand new football official? No, never too late to start as a brand new anything, I would say. And I know Tom Mullen was on here. I don't know if he still is, but he's an assigner in the metro area, and they're always looking to assist new people in getting started in football. And so, would encourage you to check in with those association folks, and they will get you going. Let's see here.
Jason,
Next
a couple
question.
of questions about pay. Maybe
Okay.
tell us how that
Yep.
figured out.
So, from a pay perspective, pay varies by sport and by part of the state. And so we don't have a flat rate of pay, but I would tell you, comparatively speaking, to other states across the country, pay at the high school level is really competitive, if not near the kind of the top end of the pay scale. Now, don't tell any schools that, but because we like them to keep increasing your fees, but I would tell you that the fees are really competitive at the high school level, Minnesota. But in outside the metro area, those kind of get negotiated between the associations and the schools. And those things vary, whether it's they pay you maybe a mileage stipend, or there's a higher fee to account for travel, or maybe they give it to one person in the car, or all three. All that kind of varies. And so we would encourage you to check with people that are in your part of the state and your sport that can assist you with that. In the metro, there's an agreement, a 7-county metro area. There's an agreement that all the schools agree to follow that fee schedule, and it's a flat fee, no mileage, no anything, just a flat fee per game. And so if you work a game in the 7-county metro, it's going to follow that fee schedule. And again, varies by sport, but your association, which the vast majority of contests in the metro area are assigned by associations. And so those would be the people you'd want to connect with to get more assignments, to find out more about pay. And there's a lower fee for working less than varsity, but I would tell you that the less than varsity fee has really increased over the years. And the concept of getting paid less to work a double header is going to be going away. And so working at JV and a varsity, basketball as an example, is going to be a fairly significant chunk of money, to the point that I might come back to officiating high school. My wife wouldn't be impressed probably, but I would think about it. I would tell you that the pay is really really competitive. So from a youth perspective, I would say, and Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, I would say that it's basically the same concept in the metro area. Relatively speaking, it's a flat rate, and they'll give you more based on if you're a league registered eligible official and those kinds of things. But it's a flat fee with no mileage, and they would tell you up front what that amount would be. So hopefully that answers the questions on the pay side of things. The volleyball training clinic, you would register through us on a link on our website, the one that's on August 5th, or any of our clinics for that matter. So register with us, and then all of the training clinics and how to register for those, that information is under the training clinic opportunity box on the central hub, which is where you would go to find all the information for those. Question, a separate officials association for every sport. So yes, potentially. So some sports, primarily I would say in the metro area, but there are ones outstate or outside the metro. But there are several in the metro that cover as an association more than one sport. So Minneapolis Officials Association assigns football and basketball officials. Suburban assigns football and softball. Gopher does football, basketball, baseball, softball. So if you did all those sports, you could be with one association and you'd be covered, and they could help you with all of those. If it's, for example, Suburban, and they don't assign basketball any longer, there are most officials that may be a member of Suburban for football and or softball are typically maybe a member of Minneapolis to work as a basketball official. But once you start working games at the varsity level, it's fairly typical to receive some assignments from other associations. It's not like they're keeping people away from them. You just might be a dues paying member and receive more assignments from that particular association. But if it's a sport that only one association or a couple cover, then yes, you need to be part of multiple associations. So for example, there are a couple people that officiate football and then also officiate swim and dive. Swim and dive is just one association across the state. And they only do swim. And so if you were both of those, you would need to be in multiple if associations, if you so chose. So. Question about recommendations for football and basketball associations in the metro area. I would tell you that the football and basketball associations in the metro area are all really good. They're really good at training. They're really good at development, working with new people. And so what we typically recommend to people is to at least start with the association that covers the games and you're part of the metro. So, you know, if you live and work in Woodbury as an example, then maybe St. Paul Capital City Association is best. If you live in and work in Eden Prairie, then maybe Minneapolis is your best fit. And maybe, you know, if you're in Brooklyn Park, then maybe Gopher is your best fit. Those kinds of things. And so I would just tell you based on where you live, you're going to be in good shape no matter who you choose. Now, with that said, I lived on the east side of town and I was a member of Gopher State Officials Association, which as I was driving 50 minutes to every game, I was questioning that. But I would tell you they were awesome and they were a really good association for me. But the other associations are equally great, I would say, in the metro and across the state as well. They're all really good at mentorship and training and working with new people. So
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So we moved down here a few years ago from Michigan, and I officialed football for about 8 seasons. And I live in Rosemount, so I want to get back into it. So who do I get in touch with here?
Okay.
To be like, hey, I'm an official now again.
Yep. So it's Minnesota's gain and Michigan's loss, so we're happy about that. I would say in Rosemount, your best bet from a football perspective is to connect with Tom Wolin. He assigns the majority of the contests down by you, and he was on this call. I don't know if he is still, but his contact information is on our site. And you'll also get that in the email that Pam sends out with all the association contacts. And so Tom Wolin would be your best contact, I would say.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yep, you bet. Just a question about the concussion module. Yeah, we make, even if you watched it in some other state or some other website, we require that just to make sure that our state statute pieces are covered. We require officials and coaches to watch ours, which should be, it's not a major life commitment. It's last time I checked, I believe it's only about 11 minutes. So I think it won't be too big of a deal. And again, it's once every 3 years. So 3.5 minutes every year, if you want to look at it that way. So I told Rachel Palmer, our state coordinator for softball, I mentioned it, that they have a very robust USA softball training for new officials for youth fast pitch, and they should reach out to Rachel if they're looking to get into the softball side of things. I think that Southwest Minnesota contacts so Adam, are you still on here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
What sport, Adam?
Soccer.
Okay, excellent. We definitely don't have enough of them. So soccer, your contact to help you out would be Jim Roy. and Jim is our regional coordinator from that part of state. He lives in Mankato, but he covers
Sure.
the southwest part of the state, and he'll be able to help you get started down there. So, and his contact information will be on that information that Pam shares as well.
Sure. All right. Appreciate it.
Yep, welcome. Excellent.
Hey, I
My
had
replacement.
sorry.
No, sorry, Tony. You still need to come back to soccer officiating. Good try. So Quincy, just a couple of things. First of all, thanks for, getting started, and I appreciate your passion. And I started at a young age too, and it's been a really great thing for me. And a lot of people who've been in officiating for not as long, a lot of them do say, I wish I would have started earlier than I did. So happy for you that you've done that. Just from a varsity perspective, high school perspective, wanted to throw out to everybody that there's no age or eligibility requirements to work any contest below the varsity level. So if you work a JV game, you can be any age, and technically you wouldn't have to be registered or eligible with us. Now, we don't recommend that because we have insurance, rules books, training, those kinds of things, but you certainly can. And then you'd need to be the age of 18 or above and complete the eligibility requirements to be eligible for varsity competitions. But anyone can work contests below the varsity level. And so we encourage folks to get registered eligible with us, and then begin working those lower level contests, JV, 10th grade and 9th grade. And as Tony said, the best thing you can do is work as many games, as many events as possible. That's how you're going to get better.
Yeah, I had
make
something I want
mistakes.
to point out as well. So I began working with Hammer Sports, and then
Yep.
Pat Rock, and
Mhm.
then Jeremy, and I think Bryson, another company, Brother Bros. Uh,
I think I lost you there audio wise, but I get the sense that you're working a lot of youth stuff, which is great. Keep doing that. And you can register with us. Even if you're not 18, we have a program for that. Where you can get insurance, you get rules books, you get access to training, all that. And then as soon as you turn 18, we turn the switch on and we do the background check, and you're off and running with being able to work varsity contests at that point. And I started working varsity when I was 18, and been a really good experience for me ever since. So stay the course.
yeah, thank you.
And stay in touch with Tony and Carolyn, and they're obviously people that have succeeded at a high level, and I'm here to help you as well as anyone on this call, regardless of the sport, I would say.
Yeah, I also had one more question about the
Yep.
association.
Yep.
So I reached out to St. Paul, Capital City, and MOA.
Yep.
Because I live in Minneapolis, so I think both of those would be pretty convenient for me.
Yep, that's no problem. That both, like I mentioned earlier, all the associations in the metro I think are equally good at training and development and putting people in good position. And so I think you'd be in good shape either way.
Yeah, I actually got to work with James Patterson from St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to work 8 games with them, and I had 11 that day at St. Thomas. So I got to meet him.
Yeah, James, one of our better officials, one who started later in his career as well. And in fact, he's going to be on our other promotional posters and slides at state tournaments. So definitely a good resource there.
Yeah.
So Question about the football exam. All the football requirement or the fall requirements, football, volleyball, soccer, swim and dive, adapted soccer, all, well, not adapted soccer, but the other ones all open. The exam and the online rules module all open on August 7th. So that's when those will be ready. And then all the 3 of those are due on the 23rd, and football is due on the 30th. And then, and all those requirements are due the day before varsity contests begin, is how that date is, how we come up with that date. So I think that is the questions. Appreciate everybody being on this call and, you know, sticking with us and giving it, you know, an open mind to try it. We think you'll enjoy it and you'll have a great support system, and there's people here to help you. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to any of the speakers tonight, Pam, myself, the league. We will help you and we will support you in this new journey you have. So have a great night, enjoy it, and we look forward to seeing hopefully some of you out on the field or pool or whatever it happens to be this fall. So have a good night.